So good evening and welcome to this broadcast for the 23rd of March at 8 p.m. My name's Ian Wiley and I am from the Church of England in Ampfield, Chilworth and North Baddesley. While we're waiting for folk to jump on, I will just leave you with this spectacular video of people flying through the clouds. I have a particularly liking for these sunset videos, so you may be seeing a fair bit more of them as time is to come. Sorry, my office door just opened. So this evening we've got a fair amount of local news and then some spiritual reflections to round off the night and perhaps settle you a little bit. I'm sorry that the Prime Minister has jumped into the 8:30 slot where this broadcast was originally scheduled. So yeah, so my name's Ian Wiley and as I said I'm from the Church of England in Ampfield, Chilworth and North Baddesley, and I'm here to chat through some of the news from our village in this time of coronavirus. I'm sorry I've got a little bit of noise on the line at the moment. I can't quite work out where that's coming from, so we'll just have to put up with it for tonight, but I promise I will do something about it before the next line. So, as we're coming up to 8 o'clock, I thought I would let you know that there are some unconfirmed reports of a grass fire down at Baker's Drove. So as I say, there are some unconfirmed reports that there's a grass fire burning down at Baker's Drove. We don't know how serious it is or whatever, but you might want to try and avoid that area, and I'm grateful to folk on Facebook who've been helping me try and pin that down. So it's 8 o'clock now, and I suppose we should probably think about getting on with the broadcast. So the first thing I would like to share with you all really is the news from Test Valley that the emergency number for Unity, who are the Council for Voluntary Service in the Test Valley and are taking a coordinating role in the business of dealing with this emergency. They're setting out to connect communities and groups with individuals who are self-isolating in a safe way, and their number is on the screen right now. I'll read it for you: 0330 400 4116. 0330 400 4116. Self-isolation is a process which protects communities and slows the spread of coronavirus. This virus is exceptionally serious and the path of the epidemic is not a good one at the moment. So we really encourage you to stay inside as much as possible. It was disappointing over the weekend to see lots of people out and about. It's really important that we reduce social contact. It's the single biggest thing we can do, along with hand washing, to get this outbreak under control. I know that you're hearing it from all directions, but please, please, please wash your hands and stay inside if you don't need to go anywhere. Please don't mix in social groups. Just to read you that number again, 0330 400 4116. The reason that we as a church are integrating with Test Valley Community Services is because in emergencies like this, coordination is king, and Unity are integrating with the Local Resilience Forum, which is the civil structure that helps to manage emergencies. So I just thought I'd give you a rundown of the state of some of our local shops and services. I rang round this afternoon to see how they were all doing. I know that I can extend my thanks along with all of the thanks that have been going up on Facebook for the amazing job that our pharmacists and team have been doing. We're very pleased to say that I had a chat with them, and basically the prescription medicine is in really good supply, but they would urge people not to try and ask for prescriptions for more than they need, because it just clogs up their system. They're a small shop and they can only maintain so much stock, and they've only got so much working in storage space. Some over-the-counter products do remain in short supply, and the one which is causing most problems is infant Calpol. That's paracetamol for children under 6 months. There isn't really an alternate product, so I know that they are working incredibly hard to try and get some. There will be supplies of over-the-counter pain relieving drugs and drugs which will help to bring fevers down, like paracetamol. They will be in stock shortly. They may not be the brand that you're used to, but the really important thing to remember at this point is that it doesn't matter what brand of paracetamol you take, it's all the same drug. So even if it's just a plain pill in a generic packet, it works just as well at combating the fever that you may get if you contract COVID-19. The Cooperative in Botley Road, who are an amazing store and do a huge amount of good in our community, wanted to extend their thanks, or they asked me to extend their thanks for the fact that they are managing to limit the number of people in the shop at the moment, so people are coming in ones and twos, which is obviously much safer for the staff and much safer for you. The shop is restocking gradually. They assure me that they have no problems with deliveries and that they are getting what they're ordering. They would like, if possible, for people to pay by contactless card or by card, because obviously it reduces the interaction that they have with customers and it's safer for them. At the moment they've maintaining a 2-item limit, with the exception of eggs and toilet roll, where there's a 1-item limit per customer. Obviously this may be out of date by the time you see it, but this is the situation as it was at 3 p.m. today, the 23rd of March. McCall's report that they're basically functioning okay. They are struggling with people perhaps not maintaining as much distance as they should do between each other in the shop, so please remember the social distancing guidelines and maintain 2 meters between you and any other person who's not in your household. They too would be really grateful if you don't bring your whole family down there, but just one person, or if you have dependent children, then as few people as possible. There are some stock limitations, but they tell me again that as of this afternoon, 23rd of March, they have got eggs and toilet roll, which apparently are the things that people really want. I spoke earlier about the situation over the weekend with very large numbers of people out and about in the countryside. That was not clearly the intent of the government when they said people should feel free to go out and get exercise while maintaining social distancing. And today the New Forest Park Authority has closed all the major campsites, have closed all the major car parks in the New Forest, and the campsites are already closed, obviously. Hampshire County Council have also closed all their country parks car parking, although they are still accessible on foot. The National Park Authority in the New Forest also reminded everyone that wild camping is not permitted in the forest. If you are local to the forest and you'd like to go for a walk, that's fine, but none of the national park facilities are open, so there are no toilets open or other facilities. So we have a request now as a church. We would really be grateful if people limited the numbers coming to funerals and other life event services. The Church of England has been very clear that for marriages the appropriate number is 5, which is the maximum number that's possible, but we've been seeing funerals with very large numbers of people attending. Funerals are known to be a way that epidemics spread. There's lots and lots of history on that, and we are seeing too many people coming to events. What I've done today is in our parishes of Ampfield, Chilworth and North Baddesley, we've put in place a system whereby we can guarantee that you will get an audio recording of the service. We'd like to make it a video recording, but I'm sorry at the moment we don't have that capability, and we would really be grateful if you acted to minimise the number of mourners and save many lives. As I said in the previous update, ministry to the sick, the bereaved and the dying will continue. This is what we do. We may have to make some necessary changes. For example, some contact between the minister and the bereaved family will be made by telephone rather than in-person visits. We're really sorry about that, but we hope that you understand that it's for your safety and for the safety of our ministers as well. So I'm going to finish up with a reflection now, drawn from the first letter of John. So the first letter of John. John was one of the apostles who was with Jesus. He's described sometimes as the disciple who Jesus loved. He was one of the people who remained at the cross with Mary and others to be with Jesus throughout his hour of need. This is from a letter that he wrote when he was probably quite an old man, maybe 85 years after Jesus was born. And he was writing to congregations that he couldn't reach physically. It wasn't an uncommon situation in those days, but the idea that we might need to be present to each other virtually was a thing that the first churches around the Mediterranean were very comfortable with. They would send letters to one another, and those letters would be read in public. It was sort of like a video message, I guess. And the thing I'd like to say is we want to give you assurance of our love and prayers at this time as a church. We know that in our communities many people are afraid and anxious at this time, and that is probably, I'm sad to say, appropriate in view of the seriousness of the epidemic. But here's what John wrote. Dear friends, since God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God, but if we love one another, God has lives in us, and his love is made complete in us. One of the reasons that John wrote his letter was because there were people who were saying that you needed some sort of special knowledge to be a Christian. And I think one of the messages from John is that actually everything you need to follow God is in the nature of God. There's no sort of special manual. And I think that's particularly relevant at this time because in crises like this, many people wonder about spiritual things in a way that they might not normally do. And we want to encourage that wondering, and we want to say to you, no one will judge you or think you're late to the party if you start having questions about the nature of the world and whether God exists. And the good news is that the God that John, who was with Jesus throughout his ministry, writes about, everything you need to know is in the hands of God. And it's accessible to us. And John went on, we love because he, writing about God, first loved us. Whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother or sister whom they have seen cannot love God whom they have not seen. And he has given us this command: anyone who loves God must also love their brother or sister. And in this context, the brother and sister, maybe it's not just our siblings, but it's actually writing about the love that we need to have for our communities and the nature of the love of God, which keeps communities tight and living well together. We're going to need to be that integrated, loving community in the months to come. And I know that we are all hoping and praying that we will be found worthy of the test. And so I'm going to finish with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who is in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, and your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. Amen. And now, very shortly, the Prime Minister will be addressing the nation, so I shall jump off and let everyone go and watch that, which is obviously much more important. Good night.